Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Little Knit Bug podcast. My name is Franny and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California, where I spend my time knitting, reading, drinking various caffeinated drinks, and generally up to just little small joys whenever I can. So today's episode, I'm going to do an update on the works in progress that I mentioned in the first episode. And I actually did get to knitting a lot of them, and I finished about 3 of them. And there's some other news with some of those other ones. So I do have FOs this time, but for now I'm starting with the whips. So my first whip is the Secret Little Crop, and it's that light pink one that I showed last episode. Here's an image of it. I left it in my car, so I can't show it to you right now, but I haven't worked on it at all actually, so I mean, I'll move on to the other ones. My second whip is the Lavender Field Sock, and I casted this on with that Woolberry sock yarn that was kind of like blueberry themed, and I didn't like how it was coming out, so I redid it with an Olan yarn in Living Thing. It's a sock yarn. This is leftovers from Sunday Fiber Co. And I discovered that I really love how the Olan yarn knits up in a sock. It just already looks super smooth without blocking, and the lace pattern is really defined, and it's coming out really nicely. That Sunday Fiber Co. kind of taupey purple, dusty taupey purple is really nice in combination with this sock. So I already got past the first lace section. Well, there's only one lace section, and this is a pattern by Curious Handmade, as previously stated, and I just haven't done that much on it yet, but I'm really enjoying it. It's super pretty, the Owen, and I think I have to get some more Owen sock yarn. I shouldn't, because I have so much sock yarn that I need to use up right now, but it's such a nice experience, and it actually doesn't heat up my hands, and it's, you know, still kind of summer. It is summertime still here in Los Angeles, so that's something that I'm kind of always aware of, and I really like how it feels. So that's my second whip. My next whip is my green ribbed sock head hat, and it's coming along pretty well. I did about 1 inch of it just whenever I had some extra time. It's not done yet, and that's because I focused on a couple other projects. So this one, I don't know if it's going to be done by the next update, but I mean, it's a very casual knit, so I'm going to, well, I'll talk about the hat I'm casting on later, but this, I think I want to finish it before I start another hat in the short future. My next whip is the Crystal Shawl by, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Albiona McLaughlin. I will look that up. And I just have a tiny square. This is being knit with Plutilopi, I'm so sorry, I always forget, but it's a super rustic yarn, and I just have this tiny triangle. It's really cute. The thing is, I'm super allergic to this yarn, so the first time I knit it, I only got this far until my allergies kind of overtook and I just couldn't continue. So, fibers are flying. But I might actually continue this pattern with a different yarn, only because I love another design from the same designer, and it's a circle cardigan. And I've seen some sample patterns that were put together using the Plutilopi, and they looked really nice. So it's called the Circle, or Circle. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but here is an image from the designer's images of it, and it is a circle cardigan. It's super nice, really practical, and I think I might be switching over to this pattern and doing that shawl with another yarn, because I love their patterns, the shawl patterns, because they're really they're really easy to use any kind of weight yarn. Like, there are descriptions in the pattern itself on how to go about using the same pattern with a fingering weight, a medium weight, or a heavy weight, or just a lightweight and heavyweight, with various needle sizes and yarns. So it's just it's so adaptable, that pattern, and the other shawl pattern, Nelta, by the same designer. So I'm thinking I might switch over, just because I have so much yarn I could be using for that shawl, and I just feel like this circle cardigan would pair really well with that rusticy yarn, you know, to use outside in the fall and winter, kind of doing outdoor activities, or being around the fire pit, or you know, going to different just outdoorsy things. So I'm thinking of switching over to that, but for now it's here, and I will have to update whether that happens, because I did want to make this shawl as a gift. So I'm probably going to have to restart the shawl in a different yarn before I even get to the cardigan. So next I'm going to go into my finished objects, and then I'll continue into my projected cast-ons after that. So these are my finished objects. The first one, this is my little pumpkin, my kabocha squash, or hobak. My family friend grows them and gives them to me, and she actually gave me a plant to start growing, because she was saying, you know, pumpkins are so easy to grow, it's hard to kill the plant off, and somehow my pumpkin plant died. So that's like not the best news, but she I think she felt bad, because then when she visited, she gave me a couple pumpkins. But here is my pumpkin from Lily, and I'm going to probably make potato salad with this. Well, pumpkin salad. It's potato salad, but I'm going to use that to make that soon. But this is finished objects, and I had wrapped around it the Nelta shawl, which is now blocked and finished, and it is quite small. So this is my Nelta shawl, and it's too small to use as a shawl. It's way too small to use as a shawl. Oh, it's hard for me to say that. I figured I could use it in the colder months, just kind of like to wrap around my head if I'm outside, or even kind of like a little scarf. I was kind of sad because, yeah, I wanted it as a shawl, and then our other family friend, my boyfriend's family friend Gladys, who crochets, and she's very crafty, she's a sewist. She was like, oh, but you could just use it as a scarf. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Could use it as a little scarf instead. So for now, I had it wrapped around my pumpkin, but I'll have to figure out what's the best use for this. It's just so pretty that I didn't want to frog it. And I did block it very aggressively, so it's not that I didn't try. It just, you know, it didn't work out, and maybe that's my fault for not swatching, because yes, I am part of the don't like to swatch camp of knitters, so that's an issue. Maybe I'll swatch next time, but it's still cute and I like it, and it's kind of nice to just throw around or wrap the cat in to harass it. So that's the first FO. And then my second FO is the ripple crop top. this is the ripple crop top, and I had been working on this for quite a while. I didn't do a swatch with blocking, and now I'm starting to realize that if I'm going to make larger items that have to fit, I need to do the swatch that's blocked. And the reason why is because this actually fits perfectly. It worked out really well. The yarn plumped up. It's a linen wool blend from it's a linen wool blend. Well, the information is on the screen. And it was kind of difficult to work with because this yarn is super thin. It feels like string. It doesn't plump when you're knitting with it. It's like not the nicest experience, but after you do wash or block it and kind of, you know, let it settle into itself, it does plump up a bit and it fills in any kind of awkwardness, and it looks really nice. It relaxes a lot. So I'm really happy with the fabric that I got. I'm happy with the fit. The only thing is that it shrunk. So it got shorter a little bit, like by an inch. Not much, but that inch still made it a little short to wear. I could still wear it with anything high-waisted, so that's fine. And I did intend for it to be a real crop, but it is just a little bit short. So that is the ripple crop top. I'm not intending on making another one. It's a very straightforward pattern, and it's very approachable. It's good for beginners or kind of early intermediate level. I like the construction. I just didn't like the monotonous 3x3 ribbing that took months between my other projects with the yarn that I wasn't crazy about. I've made her other 3x3 ribbed patterns, and I've used 100% wools or even sock yarns or DKs of wool, and I really enjoyed those. But this one I didn't, just because it was like a fingering weight that was super thin that I didn't really like, and it just was ribbing forever. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just really glad it's over, and I will use it. But yeah, I don't see another one in my near future. So my third my third finished object is the bee socks. They're called something else. You'll find it here. But as you can see, some might call this a failure. I call it a success because I did one sock that has the full bee motif, and I did it to pattern, and then I have a second sock that has half of the bee motif, and then I stopped doing it. And the reason why is because I actually know that I was really stressed out when I did the first one, and I was knitting very tightly. And the result is that the tightness made this portion really short compared to the same amount of rows on this one that I did when I was more relaxed. So by the time I got to the heel flap area, on the second sock, it was already longer, the leg, than the first sock. So I decided to just go into the heel flap, finish it, and because the repeats weren't matching up, I decided to just do it stockinette and, you know, stop when I needed to according to just the length and not the pattern necessarily. So I forgot about the bee pattern, and I just went on doing this little very simple motif down to the toe where it matched the other sock. And then I finished, you know, did my decreases, bound off, and I have not blocked these yet. Everything still has threads right now that need to be woven in, and that's okay. But the reason why I consider these such a success is because I prioritize my mental health more than feeding into perfectionism, which is something that's kind of new for me as an adult, because I grew up as an absolute perfectionist. Everything had to be perfect, everything had to be right. I had to, prove to everyone that I was perfect, that, obviously there are reasons why that happens to people in their lives. And so I've come to a place where I'm really comfortable with prioritizing taking care of myself and my mental health. And for me, sometimes that means what looks like failure for someone else in a craft project. For me, that's success, because I used, my fiber art to cope with things and give myself, some joy and just enjoy the process of it. And sometimes if that means simplifying it, then that's okay. You can simplify things and that's still successful. And in the end, I have a sock. And actually, my sister wanted these, so if she still wants them, I'll still give them to her. And like, the good thing is that no one's going to notice except the sock wearer, because they still both have that pattern on the leg, which if these are in like boots, you might not even see it at all. But that's like a small consolation for my sister. But yeah, I don't consider them a failure. And I'm really happy that I was able to kind of like switch gears quickly with this and be okay with that and just continue. So those are the bee socks by Curious Handmade. And yeah, those lavender field socks that I'm working on are also by Curious Handmade, so I'm obviously a fan. Okay, so my next corner is going to be my mental health and wellness corner, which I think we have a pretty good segue with my bee socks. And I just want to take some time to kind of reflect on projects. I personally knit and do crafts to give myself some relaxation and to maintain my mental health and give myself that opportunity to slow down when everything else feels so fast-paced and just overwhelming, and just pick up a project and work on that and get these small accomplishments, like one stitch, one row, one sock. Like, it adds up and it kind of gives me that momentum to have motivation to do things sometimes. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. And then the second thing is I've been grieving a lot lately. I lost my dog lately and a family member. And yes, it's related to the pandemic. So I've just been kind of in a weird place. And maybe that's something that, is conveyed by my style this week. But I just want to take the time to, acknowledge that we're still in a pandemic, and it's really hard. And it's really hard when, your country or, society doesn't reflect in the way we might need on the loss that we're experiencing, and experiencing things that are, very abnormal. And sometimes our reactions to abnormality seem drastic or odd, but that's because we're acting normally in abnormal situations. And so I just kind of want to reflect on that, because experiencing this grief without that acknowledgement, sometimes it seems like you're not allowed to express it. And I just want to tell everyone out there, like, when you're grieving, there's no right way to grieve. You can grieve however you want to. You can take as long as you need to. And grief does not always mean death. We can be grieving our relationships in this time. We can be grieving the ideas of how we thought things were. And then, we could be grieving like family members and people in our lives that we cared about, and, our idea of how things are or how people are. And so there's no right way to grieve. There's no correct timeline on grief. So I just want to, say that, like, I'm going through that. And if you're going through that, I see you. And you're not alone and feeling like no one's listening or like it's not fair. So yeah, just my little corner on mental health and wellness for the week. And yeah, I'm gonna go into my upcoming projects next. So here they are. Okay, so my first upcoming project are the Faz. Oh my gosh, I need to sneeze. Okay, I'm okay. It was that darn Icelandic yarn. My first upcoming project are the Faz mittens. I don't know how to pronounce this again. I love this designer because most of their patterns are in Irish Gaelic, and it's just so cool. Like I love that there's that very direct connection and kind of that thought that goes into the names and the patterns and whatnot. So these are them, if you can see that, and it has a flower motif. And I actually already purchased the yarn for it. So this isn't, I guess this would be considered an acquisition, but you know, it's all together. We'll just talk about it all together. So I have a couple colors here, and these are all Let Lopi from Eastex, and they're in various colors. I haven't decided what I'm going to do because I only need 4 colors and I purchased 6 just so that I have options. I'm having a feeling it might be oh my gosh, sorry, might be these 4 together. Just because it's for my sister who lives in Texas, and they actually do get snow sometimes. So I'm hoping to have these done for her by winter. So I think it might be this color scheme. Not sure yet though, and I have some extras, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one, and since I just finished her socks, I thought may as well start the mittens and just get it over with. And this is like, this yarn is pretty thick. I think it's about a DK. I'm honestly not too sure right now, but it's like a DK or a worsted. Might be a worsted, but yeah, I'm looking forward to starting that right now. And then the other thing, interesting story. So the next to be cast on is the Moody Fairy shawl, because now I like shawls. I like making shawls, which is like super weird for me. I was always very staunchly like anti-shawl knitting, just because I used to try, like back in the day, I would try to do Isolde Teague patterns, and I wasn't as advanced as I am now. So I would start shawls and then like lose count of the stitches and like mess up on the edges, and then I guess it kind of like turned me off of shawls for a while. But now that I'm a more experienced knitter, I really enjoy them, and I have more people in my life who enjoy using them. And that's kind of like, I was so young, I was a teenager when I started trying them out, so I think it just, I didn't really have anyone to give them to at the time, and I didn't really appreciate the shawl knitting process as much as I do now. So I've really been wanting to do some type of color work shawl, and I've been seeing like a lot of really cool ones, a lot of like Stephen West shawls. Like I've just been seeing cool shawls, and I was on La Bien Aimée looking for yarn that I don't need and I saw the Moody Fairy shawl bundle and I really wanted it. So that's Moody Fairy. Oh no. And I was going to purchase this bundle, which is called Loam. And it's just kind of like every color I like and use. And I was ready to buy it, and then I realized that these are fingering weight, you know, hanks that, you know, are just color coordinated, and they are each 400 meters or yards, I believe. I think yards. Sorry, I'm not accurate about this. And then I realized I have so much sock yarn. I could just pick out fingering weights and knit this, so that's what I did. Okay, so I saw the color scheme and I thought, like, first I remembered that I have this that I got on a weekend road trip. This is by, oh my gosh, well, it's on the screen. And it was just such a good match for this green. And I honestly wanted kind of like a hobbity looking Lord of the Rings inspired shawl. So this was like the perfect Shire green in my head. And so yeah, I'm going to use this green. And then I realized I had a peachy pink. So that kind of, oopsie, is the second color. Sorry about that. Oh no. Oh dear, technical difficulty. Okay. And then for the variegated yarn, it is kind of like gray, and I don't like gray. It just doesn't go with me. I have a thing where when I'm in gray rooms or have like gray bedding or wallpaper or just gray, it makes me feel really down. So yeah, I don't like feeling like sad for no reason, so I stay away from grays usually. And I still wanted to tie in, you know, something variegated that tied in these colors. So then I thought instead of the gray, I'm gonna go with a brown, and that really works for kind of my little Shire theme. So instead I have a brown, and then I was looking at my variegateds in my sock collection, and I have this really awesome, this is Nori from Big Little Yarn Co. And it's like the best. Like it totally matches. It has like that green, kind of light blue, and then like a mossy green with little hints of brown kind of in it. So it really tied it together for me. And then it has, you know, these lighter areas where there's like that light gray and white. It has like kind of that whitish look also. So I'm going to be making Moody Fairy with this combo, and I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm really excited. This brown, actually the dyer doesn't dye anymore, so I will list it here somewhere. But yeah, it's a good use for my sock yarn, and I didn't have to pay anything extra, which is what I'm supposed to be doing. So we'll see how that goes. This is going to be knit on size US 6 needles, so I do have those in my possession, and we're going to see how that goes. So my next, this is more of an aspiration. I don't know if I can cast this on within the next 2 weeks, but another McLaughlin, you know, knitwear, and it's a sweater called, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this, Sciel Gras. It translates to love letter, and it is this really cute lightweight sweater. I actually do have yarn that almost is this color, so this is just some knit picks in the palette fingering weight. The color is called, I don't know what it's called, but I've had a bunch of this palette for various sweaters. Like I want to do the Eowyn sweater. There's some other sweaters and cardigans I kind of have on hold right now, but I do have like maybe 4 sweater amounts of this palette yarn for that. So this, I'm hoping, will become this in the near future, but you know, if not, that's okay. And then I actually have some Exmoor sock, which I picked up from my house because I'm currently not at home. So I picked this up from my house to start a sock with that's in the 52 Weeks of Socks book. And that pattern called for Exmoor, and I don't remember what it's called right now. But I'm hoping that if I finish one of my socks that I have on the needles, which is just those lavender field socks, hopefully I can start this one. And then I do have a Christmas present, and this is the Bear Paw sock. It is a yak, merino, and nylon sock yarn. This is from the Farmer's Daughter, and it's called Cool as a Cucumber. It's part of the Sock Squad Club for August, and this is going to be, this actually looks like Super Hobbity too, very Fellowship of the Rings, but this is going to be a Christmas present for a very outdoorsy person who doesn't need hand socks, doesn't need hand knit socks, he claims, but says it would be very nice to have them. So I think he was trying to take the pressure off of me, but you know, so those are going to be a Christmas present for him. So cute, this kind of green, it's super soft green and brown light gray yak blend, so nice. So that's going to be a sock, a pretty plain sock, I'm pretty sure. And then I got this Autumn and Indigo Fibers secondhand in the classic DK in the colorway Rosewood. This is going to be a Jessie May made project for me. This is 230 yards, so it's going to have another color to be the ribbing, but this is going to be either another little secret crop or one of the bralettes or something, or it might be a different kind of tank top. Because I live in a warm weathered place, I can always make tank top type things. So we will see what this becomes, but this is a recent acquisition that I love. And that's it for recent acquisitions. Next are books. I actually finished a book, and it was pretty long. It's by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. It's called The Beautiful Ones. Here is the cover. It's pretty nice cover. So I started this book thinking that it was a totally different premise because I read her other two really popular books, Gods of Jade and Shadow and this is Gods of Jade and Shadow and Mexican Gothic. I liked both of them. I particularly liked Gods of Jade and Shadow, and I think I talked about these in my like IGTV book review on my Little Knitbug account. I wanted to read her vampire-centric book, which I thought was The Beautiful Ones, and it kind of, the title sounds like it would be about vampires and just kind of like this imagery, so I messed up. I thought this was going to be about vampires. So I started reading it, and it's kind of like, you know, it's historical fiction, but with a fantasy element, not much fantasy element. And I'm like reading it, get a quarter through, okay, nothing's really happening. Halfway through, oh wow, it's like a soap opera, it's a romance. You know, 3/4 through, oh, there's nothing supernatural happening. And then finally I realized that I was reading the wrong book. I thought this was one of her other books. I don't remember the title at the moment. But I had invested so much time that I just kept going and going and going. And it was not that fun. I didn't really enjoy it. So yeah, that was kind of a bummer. But I did finish it. And I wouldn't really recommend this book unless you like romance. If you like romance, historical fiction, if you discovered like Bridgerton and you've never consumed anything else like it, you might like this because there is some element of the supernatural in it. It's kind of like a telekinesis going on. And then it's just about politics and like family drama and, you know, wealthy family like drama and business. So that's kind of going on. If that's your thing, you might enjoy it, but if you're not into romance and historical fiction, you might not. So it's just something to be aware of. I really recommend her other book, Gods of Jade and Shadow. I think it's really approachable. It kind of explores some Mexican mythology with, some of the characters and things going on. It's very much a fantasy and like magical realism elements. And Mexican Gothic is more magical realism than fantasy, actually. So if you like a good mystery, kind of like Gothic horror, I think you might enjoy that one. And her writing is beautiful in all of these, by the way. So it's not that it's poor writing. I just thought it was very slow. It was just a pure romance, the beautiful ones. So that is what I thought about that. And then I started rereading. Sorry, I just got a headache out of nowhere. I started rereading Aragon, and I read it as a kid, and I wanted to see what it was really like, because when you're like 12 or 13 and you read something, it's very different than if you read it as an adult. And yeah, that's going. It's so flowery for what it is, and I think it's commendable that Christopher Paolini wrote it when he was so young, but also 10 pages in that book could just be like 1 page, 1.5 pages at the most. So, I think it's like a bit overwritten, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend the time to reread this. But I have a couple other things on hold right now, and I'm going to get to them. It's just I haven't really been feeling like reading. I think I'm about around 60 books. I've read about 60 books this year so far, and my yearly goal is 50. So I kind of let myself slow down a bit, and also I just, due to like personal life stuff, I haven't been feeling like reading much. I've been knitting more, so I'm actually really pleased to have gotten these 3 finished objects. And then I actually do want to start with some baby clothes, because there's some babies in my life, but I have not even thought about that yet, really. So yeah. Oh, also, I started reading Lady Susan by Jane Austen, and I'm enjoying it so far. I had just finished, before I even started this, like the first episode of this whole podcast, I had just finished Persuasion, and I did enjoy Persuasion. So I'm kind of like on a Jane Austen kick, and that's why like I didn't really mind finishing The Beautiful Ones. But I feel like if you want kind of like a historical fiction romance that's really engaging and actually has fantasy elements, I would recommend the All Souls trilogy, and the first book is, give me a moment. So the first one is A Discovery of Witches. They're all by Deborah Harkness. And I think if you want that kind of vibe, like with actual fantasy, this is a fun one. And it's kind of, it's pretty lighthearted. So I am kind of down for a reread. I haven't read the fourth one, Time's Convert, yet. So I actually have that on hold at the library right now. My companion just told me that he saw them at our local book off, which is our discount bookstore here. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? I would have bought these. So I might go buy these. But I really enjoyed them, and I seriously have Icelandic wool stuck in my throat right now. Okay. I really recommend these if you're kind of looking for that historical fiction romance, witchy vampire thing going on. And it's kind of like Anne Rice light version, in my opinion, but it's just super fun. And this stuff came out before everyone was falling like over dark academia and stuff, like before they made it a social media little trend thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. But these came out a bit before that, and they do have that vibe. So I think if you kind of want to try out that genre, but like also want some like art historical stuff, like history, you might enjoy these. And I actually recommended these to my best friend the other day. It is a good time to read them. So, the spooky season is coming up. So I would recommend those instead of the beautiful ones. Just like, did not enjoy it. I did not. Okay, so next are my small joys. And I just have a couple small joys this time. The first thing, I don't think I showed this last episode, but I got my little cat poinsettia bag. This is from Earl Grey Fiber Co. You have like the cutest packaging when you receive it, and it's a cork bottom. I don't know why I'm flicking it, I'm sorry. It's a cork bottom, and it's this little cute black cat in poinsettias, and I think it's just a really adorable, seasonal, appropriate pattern that also fits for, you know, autumn and the spooky season, because it has cute little black cats, and then poinsettias holiday, of course, and then the cork is just like, I just like it. But yeah, so I got that. My other small joy, I try not to have too much sugar, but I love sugar. But I have, you know, like I have a lot of family members who have had diabetes or have it, so I really watch my sugar intake. And I don't drink soda, except I like the zero sugar A&W root beer because I love root beer, and it's like, I drink soda so rarely, but when I do, it's the sugar-free root beer. So I got this, and I was really frustrated because I had to clean up today. And then I found this in the closet where I stash all of my goodies. And then it's just a very instant perk up. So yeah, my A&W zero sugar root beer. A&W, feel free to sponsor me. But I love this root beer, and it's like kind of hard for me to find. So that's a small joy. And then my other small joy is I've been taking a water aerobics class really, really early in the morning. And it's like pretty strict because, like, you know, pandemic protocol and mask wearing and temperature checks and social distancing, and the class size is really small, so everyone can be really, really far apart. And it's been so good for me and kind of getting back into a rhythm of kind of just like re-entering the world, because I haven't yet. It's been hard, you know, living with people with compromised immune systems. So yeah, I've been doing that, and I've really, really been enjoying it. So that's a small joy that really like sets me up for the day, and it's been making me really happy. So that's about all I have this episode. Hopefully I'll have some more things done and some more books read for episode 3. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that it wasn't too gloomy for you and that you got something out of today's episode. It's getting kind of dark, so I'm gonna go now, but I hope everyone has a good day. Take care of yourself, let yourself feel, let yourself heal on your own time schedule, and, you know, just keep safe out there.